I'm a wildlife photographer. My whole career has been built on patience, silence, and learning how to blend into the background until I'm just another quiet shape in the wilderness. I've spent weeks alone in remote forests, my only company being the wind in the trees and the soft click of my camera. I've sat cramped and still in a blind for 14 hours just to catch a 3-second glimpse of a pine marten. That solitude used to be what I lived for. I loved the stillness, the deep, almost holy quiet of the wild. Out there, I always felt most like myself. But not anymore. Now, the silence terrifies me, because it's never truly silent. And the solitude feels like a lie, because I'm never, ever truly alone. It all started 3 months ago. I was working on a long-term project deep inside one of the biggest, most isolated national forests in the Northwest. It's an ancient place, full of towering Douglas firs that vanish into the mist like cathedral spires. My assignment was to photograph the Cascade red fox, a rare, shy, and almost ghost-like creature. For the first few weeks, it was all routine. Up before dawn, hiking miles into the backcountry, waiting for the forest to reveal something special. And one evening, it did. I finally got the shot I'd been chasing for weeks. A male fox stepped into a sunlit clearing, its fur glowing like dying embers. He paused, head tilted, ears perked. The light was perfect. My hands shook as I fired off shot after shot, knowing I'd captured something unforgettable. That night, back at my base camp, I uploaded the photos. And there it was, the perfect frame. The fox sharp and alive, the background blurred in soft greens and gold. A flawless image. Except for one thing. In the corner of the picture was a faint, vertical blur of white. At first I thought it was just lens flare, but the sun had been behind me. And when I checked the other shots, it was there too. The same strange smudge. Always in the exact same spot. I brushed it off as some weird reflection or gear issue, told myself I'd clean everything in the morning. But deep down, I couldn't shake the unease. A week later, I was by a river at dawn, photographing elk as the mist curled over the water. It was one of those rare, timeless mornings, the kind that feels older than civilization. I shot hundreds of frames. Later, when I went through them, my stomach dropped. The smudge was back. Same shape. Same place. Different lens, different light, different day, but always that same pale, vertical blur. This time, I couldn't just shrug it off. I convinced myself it had to be technical. Maybe a scratch on the sensor. A shutter issue. I spent 2 days testing, shooting blank surfaces, running diagnostics. Nothing. My gear was flawless. So I tried another approach. I returned to the exact same clearing where I'd photographed the fox. Same spot, same time of day, same framing. I set up my camera and waited, determined to see the smudge appear in real time. The forest was peaceful at first, the sunlight playing through the leaves, a light breeze whispering through the ferns. But as the hours dragged on, a different feeling crept in. It was subtle at first, a low hum in my chest. Then it grew. I knew that feeling. Every creature in the wild knows it. The feeling of being watched. I scanned the tree line slowly, expecting to catch a pair of eyes or the flick of an ear. Nothing. Still, the pressure built, like invisible eyes boring into me. And then I felt it shift, to my side. Not ahead, not behind. To the very edge of my vision. I held myself perfectly still, forcing my breathing to stay calm, but I flicked my eyes sideways. That's when I saw it. A tall, wavering figure, like heat haze in summer air. Long, stretched out, human-shaped. And hanging upside down from a fir branch. Distorted, shimmering, barely there. I froze. My heart slammed into my ribs. And then, reflex, I turned to look directly at it. Gone. Only the empty branch swaying lightly against the sky. The feeling vanished with it. I sat there, trembling, mouth dry, telling myself I was overtired. That solitude was playing tricks on me. That it was nothing more than light and imagination. But deep down, I knew better. That was the moment the forest stopped feeling like a sanctuary. I packed up my gear in a rush that day, too rattled to stay. My legs carried me fast down the trail, and for the first time in years, I couldn't wait to see other people. The nearest ranger station was a small wooden cabin tucked against the trees. 2 rangers were on duty, an older man with a weathered face and calm eyes, and a younger woman who looked new but confident. I bought a map I didn't need, made some small talk, and then, trying to sound casual, I asked. "Hey, this is going to sound strange, but have you ever noticed weird things in the woods? Like tricks of the light?" The older ranger's head lifted from his paperwork. He and the younger woman exchanged a glance, quick, sharp, and telling. "What kind of tricks?" he asked, voice steady. I swallowed, suddenly embarrassed, but I forced myself to continue. "Like, a tall shape. Human-shaped. Shimmering. Hanging upside down. You only see it in the corner of your eye." The younger ranger's friendly expression froze. The older one sighed, leaning back heavily in his chair. "The upside-down man," he said quietly. Not as a question. I felt my chest go cold. "You've seen him?" I whispered. "Everyone who spends enough time out here sees him eventually," the man replied. "It's part of the landscape." My relief lasted only a moment before dread replaced it. It wasn't just me. Which meant it wasn't my imagination. "What is it?" I asked. The ranger shook his head. "Don't know. Don't want to know. Think of it like a local anomaly. Some people say it's magnetic, others say it's just weird fog. Whatever it is, it's not ours to figure out. Does it do anything?" I pressed. He leaned forward then, eyes locking on mine with a weight that pinned me to my seat. His voice was low, deliberate. "It does nothing, so long as you do nothing. That's the rule. You don't acknowledge him. You don't try to find him. If you see him at the corner of your eye, you keep it that way. Don't look. Don't chase. Pretend he isn't there." The younger ranger nodded, her jaw tight. "Nobody ever breaks that rule. At least, nobody who wants to keep working out here. It's common knowledge." I left the cabin shaken, my mind spiraling. They hadn't laughed. They hadn't dismissed me. They'd given me something worse, a name. And a warning. The upside-down man. And I should have listened. But I'm a photographer. My life revolves around seeing things. Capturing them. To be told there was something real, something truly unknown, that I was supposed to ignore. It felt impossible. The rangers thought they were giving me caution. In reality, all I heard was a challenge. I couldn't let it go. At first, I told myself I was only testing. That I just wanted proof. But really, I was hunting him. The ranger's warning had only poured gasoline on the fire already burning in me. I changed my entire routine. No longer searching for foxes or elk, I was searching for that feeling. That creeping pressure at the edge of my awareness. Whenever it came, I'd freeze, lift my camera, and, without moving my head, I'd aim the lens toward my periphery. And I'd shoot. The first images were shocking. That faint blur I'd seen before had changed. In the photos, it looked like a tear in reality itself. A searing white slash, vertical and sharp, cutting through the frame like a wound in the world. Light poured through it, raw and sterile. And the more I photographed it, the worse it became. The line grew wider. Brighter. More violent. With every frame, it was as if I was provoking it, and the response was fury. My camera became a battlefield, each shutter click a strike, each photograph an angry reply. But instead of stopping, I doubled down. I barely slept. I stopped eating properly. I filled memory card after memory card with those impossible streaks of light. All I wanted was one clear image, one photo that would reveal his true shape. Then one afternoon, in a mossy canyon, I lifted the camera and fired. The screen showed nothing but pure, blinding white. Confused, I tried again. White. I pointed it at the ground, my own boots in frame. White. Every shot, white. It wasn't broken. He had filled it. The upside-down man had taken over the only thing I had to see him with. My camera could no longer see anything else. Only him. I should have stopped then. Anyone else would have. But by that point, I wasn't thinking clearly. Losing my camera only made it feel more personal. If I couldn't capture him through the lens, I decided, I'd capture him with my own eyes. That was the moment I crossed a line I could never return from. I kept going back. Even without the camera, I wandered the forest like a madman, searching for that pressure on my skin, the unmistakable sense of being watched. And when it came, I tried to do what my camera once had. I kept my head locked forward, but I strained my eyes sideways, forcing myself to hold the shimmering figure at the very edge of sight. If I could just focus long enough, maybe I'd finally see him clearly. That's when the real damage began. It started small, a faint blur in the corner of my right eye. Like a speck of dust floating in my vision. I figured it was nothing. I strain. Fatigue. But it didn't go away. Every time I tried to look at him, the blur grew. It shifted from translucent to milky white, a fog blooming inside my vision. I remember one moment vividly. I was staring at a branch, straining to keep the upside-down shimmer in my periphery, when the white patch in my eye spread outward, curling and expanding like ink in water. And I understood. He wasn't meant to be seen directly. His nature was to live only at the edge of perception. By trying to drag him into the center, I was breaking the only rule that mattered. And he was punishing me for it. He was erasing the very part of my vision I used to find him. The realization hit like a physical blow. He wasn't just something in the woods anymore, he was inside me. A predator feeding on my sight. A living, growing blind spot. Panic took over. I ran through the forest, crashing clumsily through roots and branches, half blind, the fog pulsing with every beat of my heart. Somehow, bruised and scraped, I made it back to my truck and drove out, not daring to look in the mirrors, not daring to acknowledge the presence that I could still feel hovering at the edge of my vision. That was the last time I set foot in those woods. But leaving the forest didn't mean leaving him. It's been a month since I ran. The fog in my vision never cleared. I've seen 3 ophthalmologists and even a neurologist. They poked, scanned, tested, every result came back normal. According to them, my eyes are perfectly healthy. But I know the truth. At first, I thought maybe the photos were the tether. Maybe burning them would free me. So one night, I built a fire in my backyard. I destroyed everything, every hard drive, every memory card, every print. I stood there until the plastic melted and the ashes turned gray. And for a moment, I felt relief. But it didn't work. Because he's not just tied to the forest anymore. He followed me home. Now he's everywhere I go. Not in the middle of the room, never where I can look at him straight on. Always in the corner. Always shimmering, upside down, just out of reach. Hanging from a telephone pole, flickering in the corner of my living room, swaying above me as I lie in bed. The Rangers were right. The only rule is to ignore him. And that's what my life has become, an endless, exhausting act of denial. I move carefully, I never snap my head too fast, I never let my eyes wander where they shouldn't. Because I know, if I try to see him, if I acknowledge him, the fog will grow. And there isn't much vision left for me to lose. So I'm giving you this warning. If you ever find yourself in the deep silence of the wilderness, and you feel that prickling at your neck, if you glimpse something impossible at the very edge of your sight, don't look. Don't chase. Pretend it isn't there. Because some things aren't meant to be seen. And they'll take everything from you to make sure you can't.